So after 6 books of emotional trauma, child endangerment, and near-death experiences, disguised as education, we finally arrived at the grand finale. And spoiler alert, it involves more camping, more Horcruxes, and Ron Weasley's ginger rage reaching levels previously thought impossible by modern science. This is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the book where Harry discovers his teacher had the hots for his mum. Today we're tackling the big questions, like how are teenagers somehow better at fighting Voldemort than professional wizards? How does Hogwarts keep its teaching license, and why does everyone want to marry a Weasley despite their magical poverty? Stick around, because this recap is about to get darker than Snape's entire wardrobe collection. The book opens at Voldemort's dinner party, where the appetizer is a whole teacher hanging from the ceiling. He's got Professor Burbage dangling from the ceiling like he just pressed the wrong button on Uber Eats. Harry leaves the Dursleys forever, and Dudley's like, actually, you're not complete trash. Incredible, honestly. It only took him 17 years and 7 books to generate one compliment. That's emotional growth on a dial-up internet connection. The Order decides the best way to move Harry is to create 7 identical Harrys, because apparently they've never heard of a bus or a portkey or literally any other form of magical transportation. Ron transforms into Harry and still looks ginger. Even Polyjuice Potion couldn't defeat those genetics. They get ambushed, Hedwig dies, RIP to the real MVP, and Mad-Eye gets killed, which means the most paranoid person in the wizarding world was, ironically, still not paranoid enough. George loses an ear and instantly starts cracking jokes about it. Of course he does. The Weasley family motto is basically, if you can't fix it, at least make it a punchline. The wedding. Bill and Fleur get married, and it's lovely for approximately 12 minutes before Death Eaters crash it like the world's worst +1s. The trio escapes to a coffee shop where they're immediately attacked because apparently Voldemort's followers have a tracking app that's way better than Find My iPhone. Then the camping arc. For months, 3 teenagers cosplay as survivalists, accomplishing absolutely nothing except slowly descending into madness. They have 0 leads, 0 plan, and 0 idea where any of the Horcruxes are. It's like a really depressing episode of Survivor, except everyone's trying to vote themselves off the island. Ron's wearing a Horcrux that's basically a wearable anxiety attack. It whispers that he's poor, true, unloved, harsh, but also true, and that Hermione will leave him, harsh, but surprisingly untrue. He finally gives up and rage quits his own quest to save the world, probably the most ginger moment in literary history. Harry and Hermione visit Godric's Hollow on Christmas Eve because nothing screams holiday spirit like visiting your parents' graves and nearly dying to a snake wearing an old lady costume. Nagini's acting range is terrifyingly impressive. Ron returns to destroy the locket, which immediately shows him Harry and Hermione locking lips. His heart nearly breaks then. He remembers his ginger tax came with 0 soul allowance, so he stabs the locket and saves the day. Quick pause. If you're enjoying this increasingly unhinged recap of everyone's favorite wizard-based trauma series, smash that subscribe button. Next up is The Cursed Child, where the plot holes are bigger than Hogwarts, and naming your kid Albus Severus really turns out to be the worst form of child abuse. Meanwhile, the trio learn about the Deathly Hallows from Xenophilius Lovegood, who's basically a conspiracy theorist with a crystal shop budget. The Deathly Hallows are 3 objects: Harry's cloak, a lost stone, and an unbeatable wand. Collecting them all makes you the Master of Death, which sounds less like an ultimate power and more like a LinkedIn badge for goths. Harry becomes obsessed with the Hallows instead of, the actual Horcruxes they're supposed to be destroying. Hermione's yelling, "Focus!" But Harry's just out here living his best life, having his main character moment. They get captured and dragged to Malfoy Manor, where Bellatrix goes full psychopath and carves mudblood into Hermione's arm, which is terrifying and confirms that evil comes standard with pure blood entitlement. Dobby saves them but dies in the process, even more tragic than Dumbledore's rooftop exit, and Harry buries him on the beach like the most depressing sandcastle in wizarding history. They break into Gringotts, then escape riding a dragon because subtlety has left the chat. Harry then frees the dragon because even during a high-stakes heist, he's got time for animal rights, activism, world-saving and dragon-saving, wizard, multitasking at its finest. Back at Hogwarts, McGonagall literally duels Snape out of the castle, and she's been waiting years for this. The Battle of Hogwarts begins, and it's full chaos. Fred dies, unforgivable. Lupin and Tonks die off-screen, disrespectful, and Hogwarts' student safety record just hit an all-time low. Snape's memories drop. He's been obsessed with Lily Potter for decades. Harry watches his least favorite teacher's memories and realizes Snape's been trying to bang his mum since high school. It's either the most tragic love story ever or a restraining order waiting to happen. So Snape's been friend-zoned since 1971, and Harry's just stood there like, I am never going to emotionally recover from this. The big reveal: Harry is a Horcrux, which means death is on today's agenda. He enters the Forbidden Forest like it's a bad idea he can't reschedule, and Voldemort kills him. But wait, Harry's not actually dead because of magical technicalities involving his mother's love protection, Voldemort using Harry's blood, and some truly confusing soul magic that, honestly, even Dumbledore's ghost probably doesn't fully understand. Harry wakes up in magical limbo with Dumbledore, who explains everything while looking fabulous. Apparently, even death can't stop your fashion game. Voldemort parades dead Harry around like a trophy, and Neville Longbottom, tells Voldemort to shove it. He pulls the sword of Gryffindor out of the sorting hat like he's in a fantasy anime and kills Nagini. The kid who melted a cauldron in year 1 just ended the war. True icon behavior. Harry reveals he's alive, surprise, and he and Voldemort have their final duel. Voldemort uses the Elder Wand, but plot twist, Harry's the true master because he disarmed Draco, who had disarmed Dumbledore. It's basically magical inheritance law, and Voldemort failed to read the terms and conditions. Voldemort gets hit by his own curse, dies, and flops over like a budget action movie villain. Peak anticlimactic energy. 19 years later, everyone's married their high school sweethearts, questionable life choices, and they're sending their own kids to Hogwarts. Harry looks emotionally stable for the first time ever. Hermione is already running the ministry in spirit, if not officially. And Ron runs a joke shop, which feels about right. Some people are born heroes, some are born leaders, and some are just born ginger. So there you have it, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, where a teenage camping trip turns into wizarding war. Voldemort loses to a technicality, and the ginger kid gets the girl. Love wins, evil loses, and Hogwarts really needs to hire a proper safety inspector. Was Snape a tragic hero, or just uncomfortably obsessed with his high school crush? Comment below, and remember, if you're hunting Horcruxes, bring snacks and maybe a GPS. See you in the next one.